Hey guys, what's going on? At top of the morning to you. It is nice today. Thank God for that. So I want to talk to you guys about a couple things. I'm going to start off with one thing. One, I have a GoFundMe campaign going on right now that was definitely inspired by commenters. And thank you for responding when I did put it in your link. You guys are like 100 and I want to thank you. So appreciate that. Two, if you prefer not to deal with GoFundMe, I have Cash App and I also have PayPal. So whatever one that you choose, you're liking or whatever, and I appreciate all donations. I'm trying to get out of my situation. I am actively looking for work. I am mandated to look for work, but I live in a very small town currently, like really small. So there's not a shitload of jobs here, and furthermore, I think it's going to pick up more because holidays coming up. We got Thanksgiving and everything like that. So I'm hoping within the next, hopefully 2 to 3 weeks, I'll have something. I also have my counselor helping me out too, which is a hell of a thing. So shout out to her. I'm not going to say her name, but she's been amazing. I'm kind of mad about y'all taking my $260 yesterday, but I understand. And the donators are helping me towards it, but I have a goal. So I wanted to talk to you guys about songs like WAP or WAP, however you want to pronounce it, and songs from even the likes of songs like Katy Perry, I Kissed the Girl and I Liked It. And I want to tell you how yesterday I picked up, and I told you we were going to do this in a series or whatever. You're not going to be disappointed with the things I have to say, trust me. And I'm going to catch a lot of flack for the things I'm saying, but it's worth it because it clears my soul for one. Even though that I can't walk away from certain things. Like I had a couple of people come on my page and be like, well, he was part of it. I never said that I wasn't. I helped promote the albums. I knew the artists. I knew the CEOs that signed some of these artists, even some of the CEOs that had that Puff had to go through to actually, what's the name? But see, the thing about it is, that's just one part of it. You know, the songs themselves come up from songwriters. They come from people that have old alternative motives, even the video productions. A lot of times you will have certain video producers that come in and directors that come in and they have an imagery already set up that the record label or set for maybe management from the artist may want to particularly see, and it may not be in creation of the artist himself, including the songs, the conception of the songs, the imagery, the message that they send. And this is what I talk to you guys about as far as subliminal messaging, okay? So when we take songs like WAP, I'm going to show you how this all worked. WAP was a perfect setup. We had Cardi B, and she was, I won't say falling off, but she was slowly disappearing, let's say that. And what I mean by that is the attention span of most people that consume rap music nowadays is very minimal and musical. So, in all sakes of being just fair, if I had to say Katy Perry, I think versus Cardi B, it's about equal plate. They had both the same effect. The difference is, I think, with WAP, with Cardi and Megan, was this. WAP, I think, was set upon to get the kind of response that you had from I Kissed the Girl and I Liked It. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that, and to go beyond. With the song WAP, I looked at the release and I said, okay, this is going to be, I even said it before it even popped. I said, this is going to be one of her biggest singles she ever had. And why did I say that? Because of the audacious title. Now, I know a lot of people like the song. The song is fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a party poop or anything like that. And had I still been at the fray, I would have been like, hey, let's push this shit, you know, because the way I looked at it at a point, the consumers don't care. And this is what I was trying to tell you yesterday. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, and you're just catching this video, go to the video right below this and you'll understand what I'm saying. But I'll just give you a quick rehash. If you consume these products, if you listen to the songs, if you're dancing in the club or when you're on YouTube, you're speaking against it, then it kind of comes with a conflict. And that conflict is this. People start to get confused about what actually your motives are as far as like you speaking, you know. And I question a lot of people in my comment section too. I'm like, okay, you're complaining about the music, but at the same time you're consuming it and dancing to it when it's on in the club. You're dancing and moving to it when you're in your car. I could sit right here and it's about 10 something in the morning. And I could probably note probably 4 or 5 people that pass by me playing something of rap music. And I'm not against rap music. I'm an artist for starters. I'm not against that. I'm just against when you get certain plateaus of artists and you have other figures and heads come in and start directing the direction of these artists. Now, I'm going to talk about Cardi real quick, and then I'm going to segue over into what's her name, because I think you guys more listen to Cardi and Megan or whatever. And like I said, I don't want to take anything away from them. I'm not trying to attack women, so please don't come over here telling me, you're that's hating on. I'm not hating on them. I'm telling you how this shit works. Now, if you want to listen, you can listen. If not, cut off right here. Cardi's song was meant to send a message, and what it was meant to send a message to was little young girls, black, white, Spanish, and indifferent. Okay, and that message was a message of promiscuity, and that promiscuity lingers in these young girls from the time they're probably like 9, 10, 11 years old. They're getting these messages. This yesterday I was, and to cue my point, this yesterday I was sitting at the same place and I was getting ready to upload the video, and it was a group of girls. They probably had to be like, I don't know, I'm going to say, if I had to guess, 13, 14, 15. And they were just, the shit they were saying out their mouth, I said, oh, that ain't them talking. That's the video talking. That's the music talking. And that's what inspired this, because like I said, I know how this works. I've been part of it. So they were saying the things they were saying or whatever. And I was, you couldn't help but hear because it was so loud. And I said to myself, this is a product of the music that they're putting out for young girls. And the guys have something to do with it too. Guys, you're not innocent. I'm going to get into YouTube, but right now we're talking about how ladies actually influence other young ladies negatively. And it's allowed. In fact, it's promoted. If you guys want to talk about white supremacy and you guys want to talk about all these other different things, this is the key to it. So I would suggest you listen. Cardi B single and Megan Thee Stallion single was put out with a trajectory. That trajectory worked. And if that trajectory worked, they had a plan of what they were going to do once that trajectory worked. Well, once they got validation that that trajectory worked, now it's time to add something on that'll make it even bigger. Oh, I know. Let me announce that I'm getting a divorce. So I have a song out called W.A.P, which is an acronym for wet ass pussy. I then will get a divorce from my husband for no reason other than, I don't know, he might cheat again. I'm just going to catch him before he cheat on me again. Now they're demonizing men, saying that all men cheat on you. Now, in my personal opinion, I'm going to tell you how this is going to go. And y'all remember I said this. Offset and Cardi B are not getting a divorce. Matter of fact, it's not even in the cards. If you couldn't peep that when Offset actually liked the post that she put up, I don't know what to tell you. Part 3 of this. Many of y'all might have missed it. But Cardi just recently, as of maybe 2 or 3 days ago, put up a post with her with no shirt on. And it was her nipples and everything hanging out. For what I gathered, everybody got on the post and they were saying, why does your areolas look like that? If you're not familiar with what areola is, it's the area around the nipple of a woman's breast. And they went off. They were joking her, making fun of her, whatever the case may be. Subsequently, she did what most of her promotional team would do at that. Tell them that you put it up by accident. Being the fact that she had like this quirky looking face in the picture, it made sense. I'm not going to put that here because YouTube will flag me and take the video down, but I encourage you guys to go look at it. You can look at some of the messages and replies that she got via Twitter. She put it up on Twitter, which is amazing. This woman's a mother. Once again, you get the imagery and you get the messaging subliminally that women, one, you should run around and the only thing that you have to promote is your vagina. 2, that even if you have a man is not worth having, is not faithful to you, then you should automatically get a divorce. And then 3, promote yourself in the promiscuity that follows behind it, which is a message to what? Young girls. So if you get a girl that's, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years old, hey, how you doing? All right?
How you doing?
All right, sister. So if you get a young girl that's 9, 10, 11 years old and they're watching these videos, what happens is they end up starting to indulge and starting to suck in the video itself. And subsequently what happens is they start acting out what they're seeing. Henceforth, what I was telling you guys yesterday, I saw a group of about 4 or 5 girls is walking down. They were speaking what they were speaking. Hey, you. They were just walking down to speaking the way they were speaking. Now, if you segue this with songs, not just like WAP, but also songs like I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It by Katy Perry, you still get the same effect. The effect is this. You are enacting promiscuity early in young girls. And henceforth, you get teenage pregnancies, you get all kinds of ill-gotten behavior, and most importantly, you see it on social media more than anything. I have literally myself personally flagged young girls' pages that will be halfway naked. They'll come up in my feed. I mean, like, it happens. It happens. Many guys will tell you it happens. It'll come up in your feed. It'll come up in your, you know what I mean? And you make a choice at that point. Do I flag this, or do I still continue to sit there and look at it, or do I, you get confused. And what I've noticed is the girls are getting younger and younger and younger and younger that are doing this stuff. In some cases, I've seen pictures up on the post, and I know a lot of you guys have seen it too, where you actually have the child taking the picture of the naked mom. It happens, and we got to stop like pretending that it doesn't happen. It does happen. In fact, it happens too excessively. So, ladies, I'm going to say this to you, and men, I'm going to say this to you as well, because men, you have a lot to play in this too. But right now, I said this one right here is specifically about the ladies. Ladies, when I was young, and I can imagine what a lot of other people were younger, you remember this, because there's this weird gap that's happening right now. You've got a lot of 34, 35, 40-year-old grandmothers that have changed literally the whole demographic because of teenage pregnancy. All right? I lived in those times of that teenage pregnancy. I'm not that old, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not 19 or 20 either. And a lot of these girls grew up listening to some of the most craziest shit you could think of, and they were playing it in the house. So when you might have grown up listening to, I don't know, some Billy Ocean or Michael Jackson in your home, a lot of these girls grew up listening to Wu-Tang, Little Kim, Foxy Brown. These were their influences, and these influences actually directly influence their choices as far as dating. It influences their choices as far as being a woman and just being seen. It affects their choices as, the whole screw a nigga, all that shit goes into a grinder and a blender, and is slowly fed over years to your children. And the men consume it, the ladies consume it. They consume it differently, but the ladies consume it more in the fact of, this is what I need to do to attract a man, or rather yet, the messaging that's going out, use a man. Guys, they inject it as, this is how the women are coming, so this is what I got to do, and if I'm not like this, what's going to happen is they're going to start to, you know what I mean? So you guys really have to be careful what your kids are watching, all right? I've been part of this. I know how it goes. It goes all the way even into cartoons and girls' TV shows. I had a real problem, and when I say girls' TV shows, I mean programming that's directly subjected and directly looked at by young girls, or trajectory is centered around making said product to deliver it to young girls for a reaction. So basically what you get is you get a reaction in society now where it's a whole movement, where if you speak against it, if you say anything against it and you're unqualified, you haven't been in the see, it's hard to speak against me because I've actually been in the industry. So trying to, disassociate me is going to be kind of hard, especially if you've never been in it, you've never been a signed artist, you've never been under management, you've never had a production deal, you've never been in a major studio, you've never had any TV appearances, if you've never had any of those things, I've done all of them. So if you've never done any of those things, even once, I've done it multiple times, but if you haven't done it once, I don't think I'm the guy you want to interject in the conversation, because at that point you're just giving your opinion versus on what really goes on. And that's not attack, that's not a joke, that's not anything, that's just reality. Guys, yes, there is a plan, and it's not just out of white supremacy. Oh, no, they want all of them. See, it's a different delivery of each one. So Katy Perry was a delivery for young white girls. Meg and Cardi were the delivery for black and Latina girls. So on and so forth. They exist in country music, they exist in rock music, they exist in many others. If we took this conversation back not even 15, 20 years ago, we would be talking about Marilyn Manson, we would be talking about Little Kim, we would be talking about Foxy Brown. Now we're here 10 or 15 years later, and those kids at that time that were 4 or 5 years old are now 20 years old or 21, and they're on their way to the club in a couple of years, especially after this pandemic ends. Everybody's going to be at the club. All right? That's one of the good things I can say about here in Connecticut versus New York right now. We're actually able to go inside the bars and enjoy ourselves, and at least have some type of social gathering amongst friends. So that's a good thing. But we are mostly adults in there. You will not find too many 21-year-olds in the places that we're going. We're talking about bars versus clubs. Guys, I will say this, and I'm going to try to make this as impactful as I possibly can. If you have a young girl, a young daughter specifically, and I put emphasis on the young girls because you are responsible sometime in the future for the procreation of the race, okay? Whether your child ends up a good child, bad child, or whatever, you are responsible for the procreation of the race. That is your real power as a woman. You know, all this other stuff about, you know, oh, I'm not treated fairly and everything, and I'm sympathetic with that too, don't get me wrong. But that is your real power. You know, and that's God telling you this. This is your real power, the procreation of the world, if not America. That is your real power. And your decision not to or to procreate. That's reality. And it always has been. You know, a lot of people will sit there and pretend like it never has been, but it is. It is. It absolutely is. Give me 1 second, guys. Now, I just don't want to center out Meg. And I don't want to center out just Cardi, okay? I want to talk about other artists that do the same thing. Now, the other female artists that you have coming up nowadays are trying to emulate what Cardi and what Megan's success have brought them. I can name a couple of them. Sukihana, who I actually like her, but I understand what she's doing. Sukihana can actually rap. If you don't know who Sukihana is, she was on Love and Hip Hop, which is a show I hate, but for many of reasons. Oh, shout out to Maury, too, for Love and Hip Hop. Shout out to her. You made yourself look quite silly the other night on Drink Champs. I don't think I saw that. And I'm going to share some clips from Drink Champs because it was really ironic. Let me tell you guys. So I put up the video about a week ago. As a counter to that, and just show you how deep this go, I said in my video, and y'all will look very carefully and see and listen, I said, we started out working with James Cruz and Malcolm Miles. Then later on, we started working with Sean Press. I say that in my video. Who is the first interview they have? James Cruz. The same James Cruz that my boss ended up interviewing for Power Moves Maker. But this was a whole different type of interview. They had some other guy on there named Eric something. He was doing a lot of talking or whatever. He had some type of history with Violated Records. And believe it or not, I went through the doors of Violated Records before. You know what I mean? Before I even got to Bad Boy, I was supposed to be dealing with Violator. Maybe I should have, who knows? But shout out to all of them over there. Mike Lowe, what up, boy? You know what I mean? So, give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna tell you how this shit went. Just give me 1 second. So whether Sukihana, whether it's other female artists, who's some other ones? Molly Brazzi out of Detroit, shout to her. These girls are trying to outdo the nastiest raunchiness of those girls. And that's how they peg these girls to be in hip hop. The girls have to outdo the other girls by saying the most raunchiest shit they can say. Therefore, you create a whole society and class system of women just saying obnoxious shit to each other, while at the same time saying, hey, I want to be respected as a woman. It's hard to do that. It's hard to do that for most average guys. Most average guys, they don't know how to make that distinction. So, and if you're dealing with a young man, it's really, really hard for them to make that distinction. I'm talking about somebody that's 19, 20 years old. They don't know how to make that distinction. Their mind is not evolved enough to make that distinction. How do I know? Because I was an 18 and 19-year-old boy at one time. That's how I know. A lot of different record companies practicing this. And then you have a lot of other different record companies that take a chance and they deal with a woman like Rhapsody. They deal with women that are from different type of molds. And there's many of them out there. You just have to search them up. Ironically enough, a lot of these female artists that speak, I guess you want to say positively, they're independent artists. Outside of, I'm going to say, really Rhapsody that sticks out the most. And if you guys are not familiar with Rhapsody, I'm actually going to share one of our videos so you guys can check it out. It's all about consumption. See, the engine spins based off your consumption. You have the key in your pocket. Not me. I can't make a call and get it taken down. I can't, well, I could, but that's something else. But I can't make a call and get the whole system to stop. You have to. And like I said, you don't even have to make a call. Only thing you have to do is stop consuming this shit. Stop making W.A.P go to #1 just because it's 2 women. What's the message that they're putting in there? Is that something that you would want your 8-year-old daughter listening to? And if you do, you need to question yourself. There's no reason why my 8-year-old daughter should know the lyrics to W.A.P, but my 8-year-old daughter can't count very well. There's no reason that my 8-year-old daughter should know the lyrics to I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It and be able to recite it, but at the same time can't tie her shoes correctly, is failing her classes, and may possibly be held back this year while we're doing remote working. There's no reason that you should be riding in the car with your child playing W.A.P so your child can overhear it and start memorizing the lyrics. Now, I'm not saying this is the way you should raise your child, the way you shouldn't raise your child. That's not the question. The question is, what do you want the end product of your child to be if they're influenced by this music? Now, some of it's fun, don't get me wrong, and I've danced and bounced to it myself. But the underlying point is this. I want you to point your daughters to being lawyers. I want you to point your daughters to being doctors. I want you to point your daughters to stop being man-haters like a lot of these women are projecting. A lot of these women come from bad backgrounds. They were abused. They were misused. They put themselves in situations where they were strippers, prostitutes, or whatever. Any of these girls, and it's a shame. It's a shame. And I guarantee if you get into the stories of any of these girls that are superstars right now, you'll find that, especially with Cardi and Megan. There's a lot of abuse that's happened there, and there's a lot of reasons why they would hate men. And I understand, and I get it, But there's a whole bunch of more young women that haven't been abused. It's a whole bunch of young women that are at home right now that have people that love them, people that care about them, people if they came up missing would come look for them, et cetera, et cetera. How do I know? Because I know some of these people, both here in Connecticut and New York and in Miami and in Virginia. And let's not leave out California. Let's just... Ladies, watch what your daughters are consuming. 2, if you don't want an oversaturation of this type of music in society, stop consuming it. And 3rd, most importantly, watch who the hell you're supporting. Because you guys and your consumption are actually driving the music industry. One thing I'll say that James Cruz said in that interview, and it sounded almost a lot like me. Like I said, I'm going to share both parts. You guys are going to have a tickle with that. When you watch the interview, remember, watch my very first video I did by myself after the Jaguar videos. Watch my very first video I did by myself and listen to what I said. And you'll actually hear James Cruz almost reiterate that. And what was said was this. When did it become definitive of Black and Latin culture where the worst elements, this is what he was trying to say, he just didn't articulate it right, where the worst parts of the culture are actually super infused. The worst parts of the culture are super infused and therefore definitive by most people as they come into the culture. That's a challenging question. When did it? When did ghetto become so popular? And I'm not saying there's not a place for ghetto, because there is. We all identify with it, but some shit should be left at the dinner table, not in public view where everybody starts getting the fucking point that these people are not serious. These people are not intelligent. In fact, these people just like the ghetto. And that's the imagery that a lot of people are getting of us, and I don't like it. And I think a lot of other people don't like it out here either. I don't think you want your daughter being treated like that when she goes to school. I don't think you want your son being treated like that when you go to school. So, guys, just keep in the fact that everything that I say to you here is true. Try to keep an open hand and an open head when you're listening to what I'm saying. And more importantly enough, just make sure that you watch your consumption. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll talk to you later. GoFundMe, Cash App, all that stuff is in the description box. It'll also be in a pinned comment. Guys, make sure just make sure you're careful in what you listen to. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Davin Lewis, formerly of Bad Boy Entertainment. Shout out to James Cruz. Good interview, James. That Eric kid shouldn't have been there. He was talking a little bit too much. I think he should have had his own interview. And especially I didn't like the fact that he was talking over Cruz. You know what I mean? And one of the important things I like to hear Cruz say was, 50 used to write for Puff. A lot of people used to write for Puff, didn't they? We'll talk about that another time. I'm out.